Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today. This one, once again, like the DPS ones, I'm sure there's plenty of you that are going to be already fully aware of what the artifacts you should be running for a healer, but I wanted to continue that series where I have, the best artifacts, the full guides for all the power sets. So if you already know the information that's going to be included in this video, then great. If I can show you something new or something you didn't know about, then great as well. But essentially, I'm going to be going through the best or ideal artifacts you should be running as a healer. And let's take a look at that. Now, kind of pardon my subpar healer artifacts on the live server. I'm not maxing out my healer gear. This is just for the sake of doing some guides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the artifacts here, and then I'm going to jump to a test server so I can show you what the stats are at 160. I would have gone to the test server originally, but you can't access the Demon Fang on the test server, and that's one of the ones you have to run. Well, necessarily have to run, but you should be running as a healer. So I wanted to show that here, and then we'll jump to the test server so I can show you the rest at 160 and basically that. But yeah, since I'm leveling up my tank artifacts next, I didn't see the point of leveling my healers to 160 because I'm not going to be. I only went healer for the sake of these guides for you guys, and then I'm always strictly either controller or tank or DPS. So didn't see the point of having a bunch of useless 160 for healers that I wouldn't use again. So let's get into this here. So the number one artifact you're going to want to run is the Orb of Aeron. This just came out with the Atlantis DLC. Increases your effectiveness of cooldown, power cost your priority heal by 300%. So what that means is if I go into my power cost here on renew, you see power cost 250, 5,339 power, cooldown of 0.5 seconds. So if I put my orb on and go back to renew here, now it's changed to 1.5 second cooldown, 750 power cost, and 16,019 power. So that's the big difference there. What the advantage is you're getting, it hugely increases, obviously, the effectiveness of your, power cost to your priority heal, but not only does it ramp up your priority heal, it also summons a basically healing pet for, 9 seconds at 120 and 9 seconds at 160. So it's going to heal every 1.5 seconds as well. So not only are you healing, but you also have a pet healing. That's basically either 50% or 100% of your power base, 50% at 120, and then 100% at 160 of your base priority heal. So basically at 50%, it's getting me 4, 5, 6k heals, and then at the 100% base priority, you'll see on test server when I do it, it's like closer to 8k heals. So while the healing is not like night and day difference with the pet, it's still the priority heal. It's going to spam, since the priority heal, it's going to go to the target with the least amount of health. So when you're casting, after you just pop your priority heal to heal up the tank or whatever group member needed it, once you go and you pop your group heals or 8-man heals, whatever you want, that pet is still healing that most damaged player. So if the tank is taking a lot of damage, not only you healing the group and healing the tank, but they also got a pet casting a priority heal on the tank for every 1.5 seconds, for 9 seconds out. So it's just, overall, it's a really great heal. It's a really good pet for healers, as well as giving you, the 5% restoration at 160. So huge resto stat bonus, as well as all the effects. Now, the drawbacks to that is obviously the power cost. And that's where a couple of artifacts come into play, but largely the Demon Fang. So the Demon Fang, every 12 seconds, hitting an enemy with a weapon attack empowers your weapon. While empowered, your next 6 weapon attacks deal additional damage and restores power. So the damage point doesn't matter a huge much. If you want battle healing, or if you want to do more damage as a healer, then obviously you'd want to run the Demon Fang as well. Or if you're precision DPS, I've seen some of them mess around with the Demon Fang as well. What we're looking at is the power. Let's wreck his sandcastle a bit. Okay, let's put the Demon Fang on. I might as well put the orb on just so that I have some power being used. So I'm using renew. Obviously, I just took a chunk of my power, and then see all these ticks for 330 that I'm getting all in a row. That's the Demon Fang proccing. So let's just kind of dump my power here. Wait for it to proc. Obviously, the 2k hit. Obviously, it's not to the 12 seconds again, but that 2k hit was just my weapon. So all those ticks of 330 power. That's all the Demon Fang power being returned back to me. and obviously this is just 80, so it's only restoring power equal to 1.4% of my restoration instead of 1.8 and 2% at 160. So all those 330 ticks all in a row you saw, that's the Demon Fang proccing to give me power back, which helps offset the damage, or not the damage, but offset the power that the orb used. So that's why, and not only Demon Fang also is the 5% restoration. So you've got 5% restoration on the orb, 5% restoration on the Demon Fang. That's a huge resto bonus, not bonus, but a huge resto boost from those two artifacts. The third one, this is basically where you have some options. Everyone should be running the orb. Everyone should be running the Demon Fang. The third artifact is where you have it's basically some discretion. Right now, if you want to follow the meta, you're going to be using the Eye of the Gemini, which is the Caster's Watch. So restores 3% health and 2% supercharge every second. When Caster's Watch expires, all allies within it when they're healed for the amount of health restored by Caster's Watch. So if you watch my previous cheese video about the Eye of the Gemini, you'll be seeing its effectiveness as a healer then. This is what you'll see a lot of people use in pogs and raids. So essentially, if you got two healers in your group using Caster's Watch, they can pretty much feed off each other. So you can have like a healer supercharge every like 30 seconds. I don't necessarily agree with the cheese. I don't think it should be that strong. And if it ever changes, then the Gemini would be useless for. It's always going to be good for tank. Controllers should never use it. Tanks and healers are only using it right now because of the supercharged regen. There's no other reason to run it. So if you want to follow the meta that's right now, as of January 1st, 2019, run the Eye of the Gemini as your third artifact. If you want an artifact that's actually going to help you as a healer, then you've got a couple other choices here. If you want to focus around the power spam of the orb, and you really find yourself into trouble and you can't sustain that power because you have to use that heal, you can run the Omegahedron for some extra power regen. Once again, if you don't have the Omegahedron leveled, don't run it. But if you already have this sitting around like 120 or 140 or 160 or whatever, then use it. But if you don't have it already, don't level it just for the sake of being, some healer power. Because the Demon Fang will be just as good regen, not just as good a regen, but offer you a lot of regen as well with the controllers in the group as well. If you're electric, without the Gemini meta, like nature, water, source, nature, water, sorcery, don't you really use supercharges. Transcendence is okay. Arbiter is okay. I should take that back. Yeah, sorcery does use supercharges. It's just nature and water that really don't and shouldn't, but they have to because they have the Gemini. But say if you're electric would you scrap the Soul Cloak before the Eye Gemini meta? So you'd have, if you're electric healer, you'd have Orb, Demon Fang, and Soul Cloak. That's your best combination is electric before the meta. Nature didn't obviously need the either Gemini or Soul Cloak, so they ran something else. The Starheart, it's a pretty crappy artifact. It's one of the first ones that came out, so it was the only one for healers, so they had no choice. I'll show you on a test server when I have it at 160, even it's still pointless to run. So it's if you have the Starheart, just put it into the orb. Honestly, there's no real point to running the Starheart because even at 160, it was a 5% health and 3% precision bonus. So it didn't even give you that much extra resto. At 140, it gave you an extra percent. So if you got the Starheart to 100, you got 2% resto, and then if you got it to 140, you got an extra 1% resto, and that was it. So even having this at 160 didn't even give you that much resto compared to the Orb and the Demon Fang, which are 5% each. So really, there's like zero reason ever to run the Starheart. If you have it already, put it into, fortify it into one of these two ones, and then keep your third option. Because if you're a DPS that likes to heal ever so often, just get these both at 120. I have the Orb at 120, and in my guide I did it at 120. So the Orb is still really effective at 120, and that doesn't really require much experience at all. Demon Fang, obviously, the higher you get, it'll be the more damage you'll do from your the effects there from 5 to 7.4% and 1.4 to 2. So try to get that to 160 or either one just for the stat bonuses as well. But if you're a DPS, you probably already have the Eye of the Gemini at 160. You could already have the Soul Cloak at 160, so you could sub that in as a third. But what I'll do is I'll jump to test servers so you can actually see what the stats are for these guys. But ideally, the three artifacts right now are going to be Orb, Demon Fang, and Eye of Gemini. If you don't want to run the Eye of Gemini, you could run the Soul Cloak or a Omegahedron for some extra regen. Okay, I just wanted to, before I go to Atlantis, to show some of the actual tests in motion. I just want to show you the actual stats. So the Orb at 160 3,181 health, 3,340 power, which is pretty much standard health and power, 190 resto. What else won? The Megahedron, 3181 health, 3340 power, that you saw, 381 might, which is the same as the Soul Cloak stats. Starheart, 318 resto, 238 precision, 3817 health. Don't have the Demon Fang, obviously, because it's not available on test to show. So let's actually get to Atlantis and show some of these a little bit more in depth at 160 in detail. Okay, so first I want to show the Starheart buff. So this was just using a group heal, grants you up to 7 members health equal to 11.25% of your resto. I've got 23,287 resto and 58,687 health. So if I attack this guy and then use group heal eventually once he starts attacking me. So I go to 61. So I already had 58. I go to 61. So at 160 with 23,000 or 22,000 rest or whatever it was, it only gives me like 3k extra health to the group. So just a completely pointless artifact. It was never meant to be a good healer artifact. It was just that we didn't have one. We didn't have another one, so we didn't have a choice. So bye, Starheart. And since I don't have the Demon Fang, I'll just put the Megahedron on. So we've got the Orb at 160. We'll keep the Gemini because that's what the meta is. And then, you know, you've got the choice, Omega or Soul Cloak. We'll just put the Omega on for a little bit of regen. And let's show you what the Orb will do. And you see it there, basically. Like 30k base heals. The allies getting up to 8k, 7k, 8k. So it's essentially just like free healing. And only free healing is going towards the most injured group member, which is usually always going to be the tank. So while you're healing the group, or if other people are taking damage in the group, you know, you've got a pet that's basically going to be healing the tank for 9 seconds. So it's just an added bonus. As you can see, yes, it does use a lot of power, but at the same time, I'm not getting any regen from the Mega. The Demon Fang, while you'd be attacking, you'd be getting power back as well. So don't let the power cost scare you on the Orb. It is very, very manageable. But it, you know, 44k, so it's like it doesn't really matter. Like, there's nothing that Brian Hall will be able to do to actually kill me unless I run out of power. Right there, 30k. So you guys get the idea there. Let me get out of here. So moral of the story: always have the Orb. I always have the Gemini if you want to be in the meta right now, but that could change. And then instead of the Megahedron, run the Demon Fang. If you don't have the Demon Fang, you can run the Megahedron if you already have this leveled, but the Demon Fang and Orb are going to be your primary two. And then, like you said, the third one, you've got some options depending on what you want to do. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.